As if we couldn't get enough of Leblanc herself, the Mirror Mage is back for deck number 2, this time being paired up with Riven for some sweet double attack action and or double strike, double attack, double strike. Wow, why can't I actually, is it double strike or double attack? Jesus, it's quick attack, I know that. Anyways, we don't really see that keyword a whole lot. We get to see it in this deck. This deck is super, super fun. One way to play Riven. Riven, definitely not a champion that sees a whole ton of play, so super excited. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button if you like the video. And as always, we're going to go through, let's see, the deck first. We're going to have the deck link and the deck code in the description below. Then we're going to go through 2 games that are actually really quick games as well. So I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the deck itself. As you can see right there, we got Leblanc and Riven. God, I love actually being able to play Riven, although I still just think she's glorified Badger Bear. But hey, I don't know, we'll see. Her OTK potential is actually quite high. She actually makes me want to start to try to experiment with some cards like Shiraza again, because I tried making Shiraza decks when that card first came out so often and it just never worked. But now with something like Flurry of the Fists, you give her quick attack, now she's got double attack. All of a sudden, if she hits Nexus, she's doing 12 damage. That's just on her own with double attack. That's pretty nice. So just saying. But as you can see, we do have Flurry of the Fists in here. This is one of the core concepts of this deck. It's aggro, right? So if you see, we have a really low curve here, topping out at 2k to the arm at 5, and double attack with overwhelm, quite good. All right, and that's kind of the idea here. Your unit doesn't take damage. The first stack does overwhelm, and then the second attack actually goes through instead of just fizzling out with that box there, because you have that overwhelm tag now. And we have plenty of things to give quick attack, right? So first and foremost, Legion Drummer. This card's been around for quite some time. Young Witch is probably my favorite, especially when you get Young Witch and Legion Drummer on the field. You can Young Witch the Legion Drummer. She becomes a 4-attack quick attack, and then you can add quick attack to whatever else is attacking that is theoretically a little bit stronger, like LeBlanc or Riven, that can survive the attack. And then all of a sudden you have a field that basically cannot die to a block, which feels really nice. Blade Squire, also quite nice, right? If you're able to get down a Blade Squire or Flower Child with something like Young Witch, you can do a lot of damage. And something to note too, one of the things I love about this, at first I was like, I don't really like Flower Child in this deck too much. This is Grant +2/+0. So as Flower Child continues to get supported, if she stays on the field, she's similar to like a, Greenglade Caretaker, right? There's like Greenglade Duo, Greenglade. I always get confused. So, but it'll get high, right? Like 7, 9. That's really dangerous in this deck. In Barrier, it doesn't really matter. She's just this big old thing that can chump block a big unit or just, you know, force a block by a big unit. This actually matters because A, it can have quick attack, and B, we can add overwhelm and double attack to something like Flower Child. Now all of a sudden that 9 attack is very impactful. So you definitely have to keep an eye out for that. And then obviously you have Riven with her Blade of the Exile and all the blade fragments. Those also are another avenue for quick attack and overwhelm, which is really just. And then of course, just the +2 attack in general. If you do get a second Riven drawn, Riven's weapon hilt is actually quite nice. Whirling Death and Bloody Business, also very good in an overwhelm concept deck, because if you kill the unit that's blocking, the overwhelm damage will go through, right? And especially with double attack, now you just basically get 2 hits. So really aggressive deck, super fun to play. Glory Seeker, I didn't even mention that. Glory Seeker honestly goes without saying. Quick attack, challenger, 5 attack, feels pretty good. Yeah, so I don't know, I don't want to explain the hell out of this deck. I'd rather just show you how redonkulous this can get with things like double attack and just get straight into the gameplay. So let's go ahead and head on in. All right, let's go ahead and get into the first game here. And man, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy that it's against Deep. We're actually seeing Deep pretty frequently now on ladder and normal games and all over the place. Still not entirely sure I agree that it's a deck right now, but maybe. We'll see. Maybe somebody will be able to break that deck. I hope so. Deep, it's been a long time coming. But anyways, getting started here, we do want to try to mulligan for a good 3-drop in either LeBlanc or Riven. Either one's going to be good. Generally speaking, when we have both here, like we're seeing, it's going to make more sense to play the Riven first when the attack token is coming back on over to us. Turn 4, you'll get that reforge effect with her at the start of your round getting the attack token. So definitely makes a lot more sense to play Riven there. And honestly, being able to play Riven and potentially LeBlanc back-to-back usually seems really, or usually feels really good, I should say. So problem is here when we do play, actually no, there isn't a problem. I don't know why we didn't have, I thought we didn't have the mana. Keeping up 4 mana does represent that you have some combat tricks that your opponent's going to have to play around. 3 mana as well with the Whirling Death, as you can see in hand. And this is where Whirling Death comes in huge. Just basically any matchup, to be honest with you. You know, if that Maokai did end up blocking something else, we could have Whirling Death it. Obviously, it's not going to be the case here. Could have prevented 3 damage blocking the Riven, but I definitely think it was smart on the side of my opponent to obviously keep that Maokai around. That way it doesn't risk dying there. But already starting off with the 8 damage towards LeBlanc's level up. LeBlanc's level up is actually not nearly as important as you'd think. A lot of the other decks, like, what is it, Sivir LeBlanc, a lot of people are playing right now. It's kind of important to actually get LeBlanc leveled up, or Sivir for that matter. In this matchup, she's really just a 5-2 with quick attack. She procs Reputation. She does a lot to control the board of your opponent. Like, your opponent has to care about removing her. And she's actually, I don't know, like, I guess a lot of people aren't playing things like Mystic Shot and stuff, so having 2 health isn't really an issue right now in the current meta. So she gets a lot done. If she does level up, great. Being able to duplicate a huge Riven by the time Riven's leveled up feels really good as well. That's kind of one of the dreams with this deck, right? Here, getting into turn, we're actually going to be going into turn 6 with the attack token. We want to start prepping for starting to do a little bit of damage here. And that's what the Kato of the Arm is going to do. It's going to start to give things overwhelm. Here you can see saving LeBlanc, though, with the Whirling Death, which my thought process here is with 4 mana, my opponent is not going to be able to kill. We're not going to have some sort of response to the Whirling Death, I should say, for this LeBlanc. Worst case, they have 2 Vile Feasts and they play them both on LeBlanc, but, like, I think I'm okay with that. You know, them tapping out of mana, going into this turn with only 6 mana. Instead, they bank the mana. I save my LeBlanc, and now I actually have the ability to potentially level her up. Another thing, like every time I play a LeBlanc deck, and this is including, we just went over the Sivir deck too, which is the deck, if you want. My last video was actually the Sivir LeBlanc deck. Her champion spell, Sigil of Malice, actually comes in clutch, and I think we actually end up winning the game with her champion spell, which is what I'm trying to work out here in my head. How do I do the most possible damage between champion spell, between overwhelm, between double attack? Well, you have a ton of damage going face, and then the blades giving overwhelm, right? So now not only is Kato giving overwhelm to Riven, we're able to give Kato overwhelm. Gonna feel really nice. We use the other blade to go ahead and give her quick attack. Now we have some pretty big, beefy units coming in for almost like, well, this is lethal. Wait, 5-10. No, we're 1 off of lethal, and we have it with the Sigil of Malice just on board. So my opponent does have to make some sort of play, have some sort of response here. Them continuing to go deep is not going to do it. This Vile Feast seems like it's just desperation, so they can lifesteal 1 here. It's not going to do a lot either. And then after all these attacks go through, guess what? Both of my sigils and the Whispered Words, for that matter, are going to be cheaper. Which means I can actually play Whispered Words and both sigils. And then that will, in fact, be lethal because this block onto the Kato here only protecting 1 damage thanks to the Overwhelm. And this is one of the things that you really got to take into consideration is every turn, past like turn 5, every turn you have a shot at potential lethal depending on your hand. Whether it's giving things overwhelm, whether it's using Sigil of Malice to the face, whether it's using quick attack or just attacking with, I don't know, 4 or 5 huge units that have 5 attack, you're always representing a crap ton of damage in this deck, and that's what we see there. That is exactly what we see there versus Deep. Now, Deep is probably an easier matchup just because we have a pretty good shot at developing and closing out the game by turn 7, generally speaking, in this deck, and that's usually when Deep's going to want to go deep, play Nautilus, etc., etc. Nautilus actually does provide a pretty good blocker versus this deck, so if we don't close it out by turn 7, we could be hurting there. But versus a deck like this, Spider Aggro. This is another deck that I've avoided doing a video on thus far. It's actually one of the better decks now. That is, I think it's S tier on Mobilytics, so just goes to show you. Spider aggro, usually always a thing at the beginning of a format. We are basically racing them. We're basically racing our opponent here, and we need to be able to establish a board. Excuse me, I'm not going to lie. 2 Young Witch first hand. Not good. Not good at all. Right now, this hand is actually pretty bad. It's horrible. It's actually really bad. If we don't draw something soon, we're at risk of just dying to a swarm of spiders. And that's one thing you always have to take into consideration when you're going after spiders or going against spiders is, are they going to develop a wide board? And what turn are they going to do it? Leblanc is huge here. Leblanc basically represents a weapon that my opponent can't do anything about. So one thing I really want you guys to pick up on in at least this matchup is knowing your strengths and your opponent's weaknesses in any given matchup. While we look at what's happening, we know this is Spider aggro. They just want to summon stuff and attack, and that's it. And we know that they don't really have removal. They might have double unspeakable horror at some point, maybe, but that's a really fringe out that they might have. So if we can do more damage than they can manage to do faster, then we're great. We're golden. So we're just going to continue to develop. And right now, our units are stickier than theirs. We're even going to be able to give Riven quick attack, even though with the 4 health, she would have survived anyways. But you never know. Maybe there's like a brother's bond or something in there, and they trade with it. But this Young Witch now is going to come in pretty big. Now, we even have another Young Witch in hand, but I don't know if she comes into play or not. I'm not sure if we play her on the next turn. But you can already see, like, they took the damage as well because they don't want to lose units. Their win condition is keeping spiders on board and going wide and going face. So they have to keep the units, so they didn't block. Now, they're forced into blocking now because they just die if they don't block. But actually, I think, did we just close out the game? Because of, I think we have the mana here with double attack with Flurry of Fist to close out the game. And I think this is what I'm mathing out. Yep. So I split up the attack a little bit, I think. I think I put some on Riven as well, now that I have the other blade. Oh, no. I don't because I want Flurry of the Fist. Okay. So this right here represents not lethal, right? 7, 8 plus 4 is 12. I'm actually 1 short of lethal, which is really disappointing because technically they could just take all this damage and probably be in a good spot. They actually should have taken all the damage here and they would have been fine. But because they don't, I do Flurry of the Fists. And now I have a Double Attack Overwhelm LeBlanc. Just chilling. Doing work. And this is what this deck loves to do. This is just such a fun moment. Like, who does not like winning with a huge Double Attack Overwhelm unit? Like, let's be honest. This is what this deck does so damn well. All right, there you have it. There is LeBlanc Riven this time around. I'm really loving, like, these different LeBlanc builds. It's funny because she got shat on when she first came out. Everybody's like, LeBlanc's terrible. She doesn't even feel like her League of Legends champion, whatever. Which, I'm not going to lie, her flavor, it's not as great as you might want it to be based on the League of Legends champion, but she has turned out to be quite fun. She's very fun in these 5+ attack builds, whether it's with Sivir or Riven, or I've seen like Ashe builds with her as well, like any of these mid-range Frostbite type things. She's pretty fun. So definitely, just definitely having a blast playing a lot of different decks with LeBlanc right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, deck will be, the deck code and the link to the Mobilytics deck will be below in the description. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and JDoza signing out. But as always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.